Hello, good morning, participant. International webinar about cross-cultural understanding will be begin. So please on your camera and turn off your audio. Have a nice seat in your room, home, office, or wherever you are. And information for the participants, especially for the students. So, to change your name in your account to real name to make it easier for the committee in the next question and session. Okay, we will start. Good morning from Indonesia. Honorable Mr. Rahul Bandari, PGDM Master of Computer from Karnavati University, India. Honorable Mr. Besin Gaspar, MPD from Polytechnic Ubaya, Surabaya. Honorable Mr. Simon Sirapaji, Master of Arts, Rector of Universitas Flores ND Indonesia. Honorable Ms. Gratiana Sama, SPD MHUM from Universitas Flores ND Indonesia. Honorable Mrs. Febe Irawati, SSM HUM, Dean of Language and Literature Faculty, Universitas Flores. Honorable all lecturers of Language and Literature Faculty, Universitas Flores. And also students of English and Literature Faculty, Universitas Flores. And also all participants from other institutions. Communities. Okay, welcome to our international webinar, Cross-Cultural Understanding, held by Language and Literature Faculty, Universitas Flores. Well, participant, first of all, let me introduce myself. I am Priscalia de Flores as Master of Ceremony today. And before we start, let me read the rundown of the webinar. First one is opening webinar by MC, and then Indonesian National Anthem. Next, welcoming speech from Dean of Language and Literature Faculty, Universitas Flores. And opening speech from Rector of Universitas Flores. Next, in the core of the event, to be guided by our moderator today, Mr. Mardal, Lecturer of Language and Literature Faculty, Universitas Flores. And the last, documentation and closing. Well, participants, we come to our agenda. Okay, well, participants, we'll come to our agenda, Indonesian National Anthem. Please give our respect to this national anthem.
Ini sudah maksimal. Ketika Bapak secara diisi dari internasional ini sudah maksimal.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, participant, we come to the next agenda is welcoming speech from Dean of Language and Literature Faculty of Universitas Flores to Mrs. Bebe Irawati. Time is yours.
Thank you for the chance given to me. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Honorable Rector of Universitas Flores, Bapak Dr. Simon Shira, the Honorable Speakers, Bapak Dr. Besin Gaspar, MPD from Polytechnic by Ibu Gracian Samibun from Flores University, and also Mr. Rahul Bandari, PGDM and from Karnataka University, India. Respectable participants, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Faculty of Language and Literature, Flores University, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to all of you who sincerely committed to this event to make it. This event would have been impossible without the support of each and everyone present here. This is the international webinar in history of which is completely conducted on a platform in the social systems due to COVID-19 pandemic. We are also proud to announce that this webinar is being conducted along with the cooperations with Karnataka University and Polytechnic Ubaya, Surabaya. Ladies and gentlemen, it is organized and conducted for general audience to gain insight and information cultural understanding. Well, okay, sorry for because I was disconnected. Ladies and gentlemen, this webinar is and conducted for general audience to gain insight and information dealing with cross-cultural understanding that would remain effective in their life, exercises, and work. Each topic for discussion today was chosen and keeping in mind the interest of youth, English lecturers and teachers, and also students. We truly hope that through this webinar, each identify their vulnerable spots, gain understandings, focus on essential aspects, improve their leadership quality, attitude, and confidence, and provide practical communication skills as well as the frequent changes needed in their lifetime. I'm sure you all have been eagerly waiting for this day, and I am sure this webinar will be profitable and fruitful for everyone here. Hereafter, I call upon our principal, the Rector of University, to place the occasions. I wish you all a very successful webinar. Thank you.
Okay, thank you to Mrs. Bebe Irawati who has given the welcoming speech. And participant, next let us hear an opening speech from Rector of Universitas Flores to officially open this event. To Mr. Simon Shira, time is yours.
Can you hear my voice? All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much. Distinguished speaker, Mr. Bandari, Mr. Misunderstanding from Ubaya, Surabaya, Mrs. Who is the Dean of sorry for the problem. The other day we entertained some visitors from the some department of Nusa Tenggara Timur province, and we talk about conserving traditional heritage of Indonesia. Now, these two activities are actually in line with the vision of Universitas Flores, that is to become the cultural mediator. We want to become the bridge between different cultures, whether it's the culture of modern science and technology with the traditional local cultures, or the different cultures between people of Indonesia. As we know, people of Indonesia consist of many different cultures. These different cultures sometimes may come into contact, and if we do not understand each other well, there might be conflict between people. Now today, with our limited time and also capacities, we try to share and talk about this cultural problem and try to become the bridge between the different cultures that exist in our society. We hope that this kind of activity, this kind of webinar, will not be held only once today, but it will continue to be held in the near future. Hopefully, we can do it annually next year there will be one more, only one or two like today. Invite more speakers and more participants throughout the nation or even throughout. I'd like to ask the participants to pay the papers in order to come to a kind of resolution how to bridge the different cultures that exist in our society. I think that's all from me, and with the grace of God, I now officially proclaim this webinar officially open. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you to Director for welcoming us and opening our international webinar today. And for the participant, we ask your apology because we have some problem with the network, but we keep to continue this webinar, and we hope it will be better soon. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we go on the next agenda that will be guided by our moderator. To Mr. Mardal, the stage is yours.
Well, thank you, Master of Ceremony, Priska. Good morning, all. Thank you all for finding time and attending today's international webinar. So I'm very happy to see you here and welcome all of you to this international webinar. So today's webinar is about cross-cultural understanding. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we are going to start our first session presentation, so let me introduce myself. My name is Marianus Modaliru. I am the moderator of today's international webinar. I'm from English Letters Study Program and Faculty of Language and Literature, Universitas Flores. Well, I will be responsible for hosting this presentation session and Q&A session today. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we already have 4 speakers here for today's webinar, and I'm glad to welcome first Mr. Besin Gaspar. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, moderator.
Well, thank you. She's going to present for us about to be successful in communication across countries. Mr. Simon Shira Bhaji. Good morning, Mr. Simon. Well, he will explain about cross-cultural understanding in academic institution. And our third speaker is a guest speaker for us in today's webinar. But unfortunately, right now, he is not in this Zoom meeting. So it means that he will join us soon. He is, I'm sorry, his name is Mr. Rahul Bandari. Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Rahul Bandari already joined us. Good morning, Mr. Rahul. Good morning, Mr. Rahul.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
I'm sorry.
Morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Rahul. Okay, Mr. Rahul, he's going to present for us about cross-cultural understanding in Indian perspectives. And the fourth speaker is Mrs. Graciana Sama. Good morning, Ibu Grace.
Good morning, Mr. Moderator, Mr. Markham. Thank you.
Well, she's going to present the topic about the role of cross-cultural understanding for the English learners. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now allow me to invite the first speaker for today's international webinar. So our first speaker today is Mr. Besin Gaspar. He is one of the lecturer at Polytechnic Ubaya, Surabaya. He obtained his sarjana degree in Jakarta and took his master degree in English language and literature education from Universitas Negeri Surabaya and took his doctor degree in English language and literature education from Universitas Negeri Surabaya. Well, before the presentation starts, let me tell you how the presentation will go. First, the speaker will be invited to present the material in 30 minutes. And followed by conclusion. It means that there is no question, but often send us some presentation. Well, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning. It's an honor for me to be here today with all of you coming from different parts of Indonesia and also from India to talk about CCU, one of my favorite topics. To the committee who organized this seminar to make it happen. And then my second gratitude goes to the rector of the university, Dr. Simon Bhaji, to invite me to participate in this seminar. Well, when I come to the seminar, the reminder of Steve Jobs. I think everyone is familiar with Steve Jobs, an American entrepreneur, founder of PC, personal computers, and also Apple. His reminder is that once you are in a seminar, try to stay hungry and stay foolish. So the question is, why are we here today? Well, because we feel foolish, we are going to learn something and we feel hungry. So when you are not hungry, then you are going to stop learning, right? I think that's the point. So seminar is the forum for everyone to learn something. That's the goal. So when I come to a seminar, I don't try to be not only to be a good speaker, but also try to be a good listener, because I'm going to learn something. Okay. The topic in relation to CCU, my topic is quite broad. I'm going to talk about language, culture, and communication. These three terms are closely interrelated. So you cannot talk about communication without talking about the language, because language is the tool to communicate. And also when you talk about the language, we cannot avoid culture, because language is a part of culture. And also culture and communication are, so communication is basically or culturally bound. So in the next maybe 25 or 30 minutes, I'm going to discuss it from Indonesian perspectives. So the main question is, what are Indonesian problems when we are encountered to communicate with people coming from different cultures? That's my point. Now, the next slide, please. The next slide. Hello. The operator, the next slide. So after the title. Oh.
I'm sorry, Mr. Gaspar. They still try to fix that. Okay.
Slide,
No.
slide 2.
Slide 2. Next slide.
Slide
Slide
2.
two.
Before this. Slide number 2. This is
Before this
number
slide.
4. That's one. So
Okay.
again, ladies and gentlemen, teachers and students, talking the three keywords, I will break down my presentation into 4 main parts. First, maybe I'm going to go through a little bit about the key terms related to CCU. And then after that, I will go to the cultural types, especially in communication. So I'm going to talk about high context and also the low context cultures. And then number 3, I try to identify, based on my experience, the Indonesian problems when they have to communicate with people from different cultures, but especially those from low context cultures. And then finally, I'm going to come to some tips about what should Indonesian do to communicate effectively with people coming from low context culture. I think these are the main points that I'm going to cover for about 25 minutes. The questions will be managed by the moderator. Okay, the next slide. Okay, so there are 3 keywords in my topic, not in my topic, but for the whole discussion today. So communication, culture, and the language. These are interrelated. So we are familiar with what is called intercultural communication, and also another one is cross-cultural communication. These 2 terms are sometimes usually used interchangeably, but there are a slight difference between them. When we talk about intercultural communication, we are going to focus on the we are going to focus on the interaction, exchange of ideas between people from different cultures. But when we talk about cross-cultural communication, CCC, we are going to compare, right? We are going to compare people from different cultures. So quite the same, but the focus is different. And then related to this term, also we are familiar with miscommunication, why the communication fails, misunderstanding, misinterpretation, misperception. These are the terms related to cross-cultural communication. But again, my focus is on the cross-cultural communication from Indonesian perspective. So I hope that that is quite clear in the beginning. Okay, the next slide. Okay, I'm going to start from something very basic. So communication is basically, this is exchange of ideas. So we see that there are two groups of people involved here. So we have the speaker or the writer, and then the hearer or the listener or the reader, and the speaker is trying hard to communicate, right, his message or the meaning to the hearer, and then the hearer maybe is going to also to give some response or make some interpretation of the message sent to him or her. Now the problem is, the problem in communication is, especially between different cultures, is sometimes the encoding is not complete. Of course, if the encoding is not complete, the interpretation might be wrong. Or maybe the other problem is the encoding is the encoding is okay, but the interpretation is wrong. That is also the problem, right? So I think this is the point, the essence of the communication, not only internal, but also between different cultures. Okay, that's the point. The next slide. Okay, now, so I just point out the interpretation. Interpretation is very critical in communication, also in cross-cultural understanding. Sometimes there is a misunderstanding because the listener make a wrong interpretation, right? So a person involved in communication needs intercultural communicative competence, so the ability to use the language in the right context, and also the ability to understand the intended meaning. So again, the key word here is intended, right? To understand the intended meaning, right? I think in when we learn pragmatics, we are very familiar with intended meaning or speaker meaning, meaning which is not said, right? The implied meaning. And then also to make a correct interpretation, we need what is called the pragmatic competence, right? Good. Now, the frequently asked question is, can pragmatic competence can be learned or can be taught in the curriculum? Mostly the answer is no. Pragmatic competence is not like communicative or linguistic competence, which can be designed and learned in class. It cannot be learned, but it should be learned from experience, because there is not systematic. The competence is not systematic. It depends on the context. So we have to learn by experience. So what I mean by the pragmatic competence is the ability to understand the intended meaning. And it depends on the context. So maybe it's something like reading between the lines. Okay, the next slide. Now, to talk about the intended meaning, I would like to quote one of a famous person, especially in management. Those studies management are very familiar with this person, Peter Drucker. This is an American management consultant. He said, the most important is not said. See, so to hear what is not said, because sometimes the meaning lies there, right? That's very important. To understand what is said is quite easy, but to understand what is not said, this is very critical, right? I think I'm going to discuss this one in details later on when I talk about high context and also the low context. Okay, the next slide. Now again, when we talk about communication, so exchange of ideas, usually we are talking about the tool people can use to communicate. So we have the medium. So you can use the verbal. We talk about verbal communication and non-verbal communication. When we talk about verbal, okay, we have the speaking and writing, but then a non-verbal, then we have to discuss the non-verbal. So the body language, the gesture, the sign, and also the symbol. Sometimes I think mostly in my experience in teaching, most students do not know exactly the difference between sign and symbol, right? So that is also one thing that we have this one, right? Good. When we talk about sign, the meaning of sign is closely related to the meaning, but symbol is something different. It's more abstract, right? It's more abstract. When you go along the street, you feel hungry and you're looking for a restaurant to eat, and then suddenly you see that on the left side there is a picture of spoon and fork. Spoon and fork. You come to the conclusion that there is a restaurant nearby, right? I think we have to stop there. Now, the spoon and fork referring to the restaurant is not a symbol, it's a sign, right? A symbol is more abstract. So that is basically sign, right? So that's the way also people communicate. There is no words, but fork and spoon give a signal that there is a restaurant nearby. Okay, the next slide, please. Hello. Okay. Now, in communication, non-verbal communication like body language has a very important role. So people usually, usually communicate also with, with eye contact, facial expression, head motion, right? Or posture, gesture. Now, the main problem in communication is that this kind of gestures or body language do not have the same meaning. Sometimes the problem is that the same expression, or the same expression have different meaning in different cultures, right? Good. In different cultures. One of the example given is usually when we talk about the expression of the head. For example, you say nodding. When someone is talking and you nod your head, it means that you understand what he said, or you agree with what he said. That is Indonesian perspective. But do you think that when you talk to people coming from different cultures, will it have the same meaning? Mostly, but not all, because in some cultures, nodding and shake head, have a different meaning. So we have to be very careful with this. That's why it's important. I just remind that non-verbal communication, especially body language, has a very important role in communication in order to avoid misunderstanding. Okay, the next slide. This is one way, body language. You see, no grammar, no words, but the meaning is clear, right? You see the difference between the first picture and the second picture, right? So body language, facial expression, eye contact, right? No grammar, no words, but it has meaning, right? And the meaning is clear. That's an important point. Right. Okay, this is also the same thing. See, no words, but the message is cool. Girls are close, very close to each other. They are doing some hugging, right? Good, right? So we don't know what they say, but you can guess that these two girls are close friends, right? Good. How do you know that they are close friends? Because they hug each other, right? Good. And you can look at the eye contact, facial expression, right? So that is very clear, right? Okay, the next one. The next slide, please. Now, after we understand the meaning of communication, cultures, and language, now I'm moving to the second topic. It's about, I'm going to focus on cultures. Now, the main question is, what is our problem, especially Indonesian problem, when we have to communicate with people from United States, from Germany, or from Japan, or maybe from India, or from Saudi Arabia? What's our problem? Now, one of the problems we have is that sometimes we assume that people coming from different countries or cultures are the same as us. So we make a wrong assumption. Because of that, the communication sometimes fail, or there can be a miscommunication. So the question is that we don't understand that people coming from different countries may have different cultures from us. Now, according to Edward Hall, this is one of the experts and anthropologists from United States, which I usually refer to when I talk about intercultural communication. He divides people coming from different countries into two types of culture: high context and low context. Now, let's have a look. What's the difference? If we talk about high context, the point, so we Indonesian, including those especially we from Nusa Tenggara, right? Mostly we are high context. But those from United States or Western Europe, right, are low context. So the meaning of high context and low context: in high context, there are so many things unsaid, right? They say very little, but they expect a lot of meaning in it. So there are so many things unsaid. But in low context culture, everything is explicitly stated. So let's have a look at the details. In high context culture, especially Indonesian and Japanese, the communication is direct. They say something indirectly and implicit. Of course, it depends on the context, right? Subtle. So subtle here is sometimes it's quite fake, not so clear. This is on the symbol, right? So indirect and implicit. And then while in low context culture, the American or people from Germany, they like to come to the point, so straightforward. They don't like to beat around the bush. That's what American, right? They beat around the bush. So they don't want to be that one. So, but here you see, they try to be implicit, but low, explicit, simple and clear. Right? Number two, in high context, especially also people from Nusa Tenggara, mostly from my hometown in Timor, people rely more on non-verbal, right? They give a lot of expression, but they say nothing. And they expect the listener to make an interpretation what they are supposed to say. So, you know, the main problem is that in the real communication, people do not say, this is maybe something with the pragmatism, right, from guys, that in the real communication, people do not say what they mean to say, right? Right. People do not say what they mean to say. They say one thing and mean something else. This is quite typical also from, especially people from. Okay, could I go to the next slide? Slide number 13. Oh, yeah, okay. Low and high context culture. Mostly, as you see on the left side, we have USA USA and also Germany. I think Germany, right? If those who have been in contact with people from Germany, they are very low context. Everything should be explicitly stated, and also United States, Australia. But on the other hand, on the right hand, high context, Indonesia, China, and Japan, right? In the middle, you have people from Argentina, Brazil, Mexico. They are low, but not very low. High, but not high. So in between, right? So we have to be very careful with people coming from the between, right? Because if you communicate it in the wrong way, there might be a misunderstanding, right? So this is the way how Edward Hall classified the cultural context around the world: low context and the high context. Okay, now I'm going to give an example, an illustration about high context culture from based on my experience, the Indonesian people communicating with the American. The next slide, slide number 13, please. The next slide. Okay. Let me give an illustration. I used to work in my teaching experience, in American school, American consulate school, but after that in Surabaya, now it is changed into Surabaya International School. Usually the teachers are American, including the headmaster, but we also have some Indonesian, and I'm one of the ESL teacher teaching English as a second language there. Now, there is a case that I remember, an Indonesian working at the international school, and the headmaster American, and the Indonesian wants to borrow money from school. Borrowing money from school is a kind of Indonesian tradition, but not American one. So Indonesian, when they work in school, they need money, they borrow from school, right? This is something unique. So this person Indonesian going to the school to see the headmaster, and then after greeting, he's going to say this: I have a big family. I have 3 children. They are in junior high school and senior high school now. The school year starts next month, and I have to pay the school fee and buy uniform. My wife doesn't work. So the intention is not explicitly stated, right? It's not explicitly stated. And then the American headmaster, oh, that's good. So she can take care of the children. Anything else? Then the answer is, and the Indonesian say, no, sir. And then the problem is, you see that the main intern, actually, he wanted to see the headmaster to borrow money. But for Indonesian, expressing directly that you want to borrow money in the first talk is considered impolite. So you try to postpone it. You say something different, or maybe we call it, beat around the bush talking about this. But you see the American do not want to understand that point, right? And then he asks, oh, that's good. So we can take care of that one. So the point is the communication failed. The question is, who is to blame? The first problem is that this Indonesian like to beat around the bush, not come to the point. And then he did not express the intent message. He wanted to borrow money, but he didn't say that. He expected the headmaster to make an interpretation about what he wants. He expected the American to ask, so do you mean that you want to borrow some money from schools? But the question does not come out from the American, right? So this is one of the problems for the way how the people from high context culture communicate. Usually there's also a big problem here. So a misunderstanding. So the communication failed. Another example, the next slide, please. Okay, this is another illustration. I think this is someone from, mostly typical from Timor, those who are studying in Surabaya. In communication with American teachers, sometimes the how Indonesian students avoid no, saying no to yes, no question. There is a teacher from German, and then this person names Joko. Joko, have you finished your report? These Indonesian students say, actually, I wanted to finish it yesterday, but my friend came to my house and we went to the mall. When we came home, it was already 11 p.m. And then he stopped silent, looking down on the floor. This is quite typical also from students from Flores, Kupang, Timor, like that one. They look down on the floor. They don't want to have the eye contact. Of course, the German teacher, please answer my question. You don't answer my question, right? So the question is, did Joko answer the question? The question is, have you? No, of course, he did not answer the questions. So the true intent of the message was not expressed. So the question is, another question is, why silent? Now, in communication, silent has meaning. So in Indonesian culture, when people stop, do not want to say, maybe he wants to express that he feels guilty, right? And also looking down on the floor, Dr. Simon, that is also one typical characteristic of our Indonesian students. When you talk to him, if they feel guilty, they look on the floor, they don't have an eye contact with you. That's also the problems, right? Good. Now, but the problem is being silent considered polite? Well, it depends on the culture. For American, this is impolite. It means that you don't want to communicate with him. But for us, Indonesians, especially those coming from Nusa Tenggara, silent, looking on the floor, no eye contact. This is very polite because you are talking to someone who is higher in position than you. So again, now in this case, we don't have to blame the Indonesian students only, but we also have to blame the German teacher. Why doesn't the German teacher learn something about Indonesian culture, that Indonesian belongs to high context, not low context? They try to say something, but means something else. So you have to guess the meaning, reading between the lines. That's an important point. The next slide. The next slide, please. Okay, so I try to identify misunderstanding between Indonesian and those from low cultures. Number one, the main problem is the language competence. Sometimes Indonesian people, right, their grammar or their sentences do not have, or it's quite ambiguous. For example, we have this one. If they go to a car wash station, they say, I want to wash car. Well, what does it mean? Or I want to wash car. So you want to wash car alone, or you want the people in the gas station to wash the car for you, right? So language competence. The second one is the style. Indonesian like to beat around the bush, not come to the point, like you want examples. And also the wrong assumption about the gesture and now for Indonesian, especially those from Nusa Tenggara, looking down on the floor or no eye contact is a matter of respect. But for in communication with American or from Germany, eye contact is very important. So I think this is very important. And number 4 is the hierarchy. Hierarchy in talking, especially between male and female. An American talking to a couple, they expect the wife and the husband to participate. But remember, in our Indonesian culture, especially those from Nusa Tenggara, the husband and the wife, the husband is going to talk more, dominates the talk. So the wife is considered secondary. So now for American, this is quite difficult to understand because they respect the equality. That's the main problem. Another problem is that number 6, Indonesian people belong to polychronic culture, do several things at one time, while American or maybe also Western Europe, they are monochronic. Monochronic is that do one thing at one time. Time is money. Now, based on my experience about number 6, about polychronic, in my university, in University of Surabaya, we have a lot of foreign students taking the international classes, and sometimes they complain about the Indonesian lecturers. Indonesian lecturers cancel the class or stop the class early easily. Sometimes they say, I'm sorry, I have to stop the class early now because I have to pick up my son. For Western people, it's difficult to understand. How can you pick up your son when you are doing teaching, right? That's the point. Okay, and then, well, I think for time, I would like to have the next slide, please. D. Hello. Okay, I think this is the last one. So how can Indonesian improve their communication? Be prepared. That's my advice. Study about the culture before you make a good communication. Change your speaking style. If you face low context or context, make some adjustment. And then be open-minded, right? Use open-ended questions, not closed-ended, in order to get more ideas about it. Number 4, be open-minded and open-minded or broad-minded, right? And then number 5, avoid typical expressions which need interpretation. So when you communicate with people from Germany, if they ask you, can you come tomorrow? Don't say, I hope so, or I will try. Yes, maybe. These expressions are typical for Indonesian, but cannot be accepted by people from Germany, right? You have to say yes or no, not I will try. What does it mean to you, right? I will try. Saya usahakan, right? I will try. This is not good. So improving your pragmatic competence. The next slide. The next slide, please. Okay, closing remarks. So intercultural communication is challenging, especially in language learning, since daily communication, people do not say what they mean to say. They say one thing and mean something else. Next, people say the same thing in different ways. Therefore, interpretation is difficult. To be successful, we need knowledge of the culture, communicate competence, and also pragmatic competence. Now, I would like to close the next slide, please. The next slide. Oh, okay, this one. One of the quotes from Edward Hall. The essence of cross-cultural communication has more to do with releasing responses than sending messages. It's more important to release the right response than to send the right message. So the problem is in the response, not in the encoding process. I think that's all I have to say. No more, no less. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Well, thank you, Mr. Dr. Anders Gaspar, MPD, for giving such an informative and interesting topic in your presentation. And I hope all the participants will enjoy this interesting and amazing presentation from Mr. Gaspar. Well, as I told you before that, Mr. Gaspar will answer some questions that were sent to us during the presentation in chat box in Q&A session after this session. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now we come to the second speaker for today's international webinar. She is Mrs. Graciana Sama. She is one of the lecturers in English Letter Study Program, Faculty of Language and Literature, Universitas Flores. And right now, she is the head of Relations Affairs Office at Flores University. She obtained her sarjana degree at Universitas PGRI Adibuana, Surabaya, and took her master degree at Udayana University, major in applied linguistics. And now, allow me to welcome Mrs. Graciana Sama, SPD M.Com, to make her presentation in 30 minutes. Please, Ibu Grace, time is yours.
I'm sorry. Thank you very much for the time given to me, Mr. Moderator, Mr. Margal. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My Honorable Mr. Simon, as the Rector of Universitas Flores, Honorable Mr. Gaspar, good morning. And also Honorable Mr. Rahul Bandari, and Honorable Ibu Febe Irawati, our Dean of Language and Literature Faculty, and also distinguished all participants, teachers, and students in this international webinar.
Good morning, ma'am.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Frankly speaking, I just give what is something like practical of what is the role of cross-cultural understanding for English learners, since in this faculty or in English literature study program, we have no subject for CCU or cross-cultural understanding. So it is the important thing today to discuss with something like a great speakers, three speakers with me or with us today. So we can learn together, discuss together about the cross-cultural understanding. And my topic today is about the role of cross-cultural understanding for English. And cultural differences are the main issues in cross-cultural education. Without recognizing differences in tradition and habits among people of different ethnics, religion, localities, region, and countries or nation, confusion and misunderstanding will continually occur in communication with other communities. I agree. I agree with the statement from Bapak Gaspar Besin, Mr. Gaspar, that we should understand more, learning culture before we speak to people from other country or from different cultural background. And then cross-cultural understanding plays an important role in learning languages, since learning any language will inevitably learn its culture at the same time. According to Brown, that language is a part of culture and a culture is a part of language. Thus, learning a language is not simply just learn its pronunciation, grammar, and vocabulary, but also learning of its culture. So it can be said that language is a tool of communication and a way of life of certain society, which is expressed by certain language. And then for students from English department, yeah, language mastery, especially in English language, in our faculty or in our study program, deals with the use of the language in proper and comprehensive ways. The student refers to the aspect of including grammatical and grammar. In classroom, students use with contact, culture, and culture. Or West Flores, yeah, should have their culture, their tradition, and when she or he learn in this faculty, English literature, and study English, they should have in English as well as the culture of the speaker of English coming from different cultural background. For example, from America or from English-speaking country. And I actually aim of language learning is like when they accomplish this. So the teacher needs to be the agent of introducing culture and student culture and target language culture, I mean. In actual languages, it is not the case that it's only the forms of language that convey meaning. It is language in its cultural context that creates meaning. Creating and interpreting meaning is done within a cultural framework. And based on Honigman in 1990, he proposed that culture has elements. He classified into three aspects. They are cultural knowledge. The second one is patterns of behavior and artifacts. And in this cultural knowledge, learners should understand the do's and the don'ts in line with the norms adhered by the intended community. And for patterns of behavior, for example, how a person gives something to another should be with the right hand or should be with the left hand, or either one is equally acceptable. For example, in my experience, when I took undergraduate program, that but as a the given thing to me, but it is make them offended because I received with my left hand. So I'm a little bit confused why my people use left hand, their culture do not receive it or accept it. Yeah, there is cultural background, different cultural. Because Flores, most of people here, are left-handed people, so there is no matter to use or receive with left hand. Okay, so that is about patterns of behavior. And then the next element of culture is artifacts. It means that something like objects of culture, owned, recognized, or respected or valued by the community. For example, building design or architecture, and then clothing, furniture, household utensils, ornaments, souvenirs, etc. So while there are varied elements of culture to explore, English learners, students, and also the teacher at least learn and teach and also understand the do's and the don'ts generally adhere by the speaker of English, especially for elements of point of knowledge. And some example of the do's and the don'ts will generally apply to both English and Americans are as follows. For the first one is the do's and the don'ts expression to apply both, to both the English and American. Okay. The first one is greet people or your guests properly. For example, this is still morning, so you may say good morning, and you may give a small talk. How are you? So this is greet people or your guests properly as an example. And the next one is for the first meeting, when we meet for expression, how do you do for the first meeting? Yeah, people from English may be your greeting, how do you do? But for American, generally do not. But in personal introduction, they will also accept it. And next, 3, please, please. Yeah. When asking to do something, it means that please is a form of politeness very often used in both the American culture. Yeah, for example, in a shop assistant, a shop assistant will say, please have a look, or when asking a customer to explore the product display in the shop to help him or her making a decision about what to buy. So this is an example when we would like to ask something, we may say, please. And then the next do's is to express excuse me is used to anticipate possible misconduct before asking a question or to get attention before starting a speech. For example, a hotel guest may say, excuse me, where is where room? Unstable. I will continue. And number 6, thank you. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Accessory. Yeah. It may thank you or thanks. It's heard very often in the market, store, in the public transportation, in hotel, and also in the classroom. Even when we don't get what have expected from us, you may say thank you. For instance, Mary, do you have an extra and borrow? That is an example of thank you as often as necessary. When someone do not give what we say thank you. Already asked question. Number 7, wear proper outfit to suit the situation. So, for example, as the students in academic situation should wear proper outfits when he or she to campus. So whenever you see the foreigner from abroad use or wear the outfit, wear a t-shirt all the time, most of the time, but we also see that professional guides are not influenced. They always wear batik shirts most of the time. So we as learners, what is try to wear the proper outfit to the situation or condition. Praise or compliment guests where appropriate. In this example, for example, a guest wearing batik dress will feel honored when you say something like, "You look great in your batik dress," and she will say, "Oh, thank you." Yeah, something like that. You praise or compliment other who have worn our batik, for example. So this is about praise or compliment. And let's be honest, don't tell a lie to the visitors or to the people from different background, different cultural background, and then be yourself. Yeah. So this is the do's apply to both English and American. Now we move to the don'ts. What do you speak to English and American or restaurant people? Don't ask questions, yeah, just how much money you earn and why aren't you married? Or are you married or single? And expression, how many children have you got? And the last, how old are you? Yeah, for the age or the old identification it is, but for the small talk, you do not need to ask how old are you. And the second don't, that is don't spit in the street or in public places. I think it is the same with Indonesian culture or Flores culture here. Sometimes and to spit public. And then number 3, don't stare at anyone in public. It is impolite. We see foreigner or visitors from another country, from abroad. So please, what is for them as our people or as a human, the same as us in our area, in our city. Because it is impolite to stay someone else coming from abroad. And then don't discuss politics or religion with grandeur. And don't they call your name by, for example, just a mother or okay, ladies and gentlemen, may I continue? I do apologize for the connecting is unstable. And I have what is present about the tools to people from English and American or Western countries. As Reynolds said that successfully across culture, we must recognize. So when used wisely, maybe motivate creates have power, and our speak always to create joy. So from the power of language, there are some guidelines actively and based on Reynolds in 2004. Number one is be aware. Yeah, sometimes the speakers are often unfamiliar with idiom and confused by the shades of meaning of words. Sometimes pretending to understand when often dictated by culture, desires to be courteous, to seek harmony and conversation-free relations, embarrassment. Needing to ask a question means that they didn't understand. Be aware when we use stated by Mr. Gaspar Benson. And then choose avoid words that disrespect the little other. Next, These expressions are seldom taught school and oh yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. Continue. Yeah. So please avoid idioms, slang, jargon, and acronyms because these expressions are seldom taught at school and informal language courses. Yeah. Next, respect the basic rule. Correct standard syntax. And yeah, are not as casual as other people from different countries. So be polite. And next, avoid jokes and humor. Yeah, his humor often based on ones or share culture references is one of the most difficult things to translate. Also remember that laughter in many countries signifies embarrassment or nervousness. Next, listen is a very powerful communication. It involves putting aside your own another things and to person who are communicating as well as commitment to understanding by Mr. Gaspar that before answer question from people, please listen carefully. Yeah, as the expression listen to understand, not listen to reply. So before understanding the meaning or the message, we sometimes it miss communication. To become, for example, many periods of silence like to be hurried. This is the value of silence. To conclusion, cross-cultural understanding plays a significant role in communicating with people from different countries. Language and culture are inseparable. When learners learn a language, at the same time, they should the country where the language in order to avoid miscommunication and misunderstanding. It is the task of English learners and also English teachers to understand the basic concept of cross-cultural understanding, aspect of cultures involved. So the learners in Indonesia are exposed to the situation of real cross-cultural communication. This way, it is expected that they are able to function properly when they communicate with native speakers and non-native speakers of English. I think that's all from me. The practice of the do's and don'ts as the aspect of the role of cross-cultural understanding. Thank you very much. If I have some presentation, I do apologize. Thank you. Back to Mr. Hunter. Thank you very much for listening.
Well, thank you very much, Ms. Grace. Graciana Sama, SPM Hum, for your interesting and informative presentation. And for all the participants, you may send us some questions dealing with the topic from first and second speaker in chat box, and we'll at second session Q&A. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now we already have the third speaker for today's international webinar. He is our guest speaker for this webinar. He comes from India. His name, Mr. Rahul Bandari. Now he is a director of international relation and visiting association professor. I'm sorry. He obtained his bachelor's degree in finance and computer in MCRP University and HNB University in India, and took master degree in finance and management from Symbiosis International University and HNB University in India. And now he's a doctorate candidate from Airlangga University. Now, allow me to welcome Rahul Bhaji, Professor of Computer, to make his presentation.
Thank you very much. Will you please make me host so that I can share my screen?
Pardon me.
I just wanted to share my screen.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Rahul.
All right. Selamat pagi Indonesia. Very good
Selamat
morning.
pagi.
Very good morning from India. First of all, thank you very much, Pak Simon Bhaji, who provided this invitation. I always thankful for Universitas to allow me to meet all my fellow speakers. I must say that I was quite impressed by the presentation given by Dr. Gasper and Grace. They have shared a lot of valuable information about Indonesia. I itself learned the intercultural today from Dr. Gasper presentation, that how Indonesia react and act on different situations. So as the host, I'm director of international relation in University. I'm also a visiting professor in Categorize University, Harvard University, as well as the Thang Long University in Vietnam, where I'm teaching entrepreneurship, intercultural communication, and different subjects. I work with some of the good-known universities in India, UK, and Middle East. And that's give me an opportunity to understand the different culture. I'm basically from a culture, or I'm basically from a religion of Indian side. I worked in Middle East. I was very connected with Indonesia, Vietnam, and different ASEAN countries. And at the same time, I worked with UK also. So that gives me some part of experience which I love to share with all of you. I mean, most of the students already know that today we are talking about cross-cultural communication. We are talking about intercultural communications and a lot of things. Previous speaker have shared a lot of information about the same subject. So I don't know, because books have shared all valuable information. But I'll start with a question which I ask generally from myself and students. Why should I study? Why should I learn intercultural and cross-cultural communication? I don't want to learn. So unless you don't feel that there is an importance of cross-culture which you need to learn, then only you can learn something, right? So let us see the first question. Why we are talking about cross-cultural, intercultural communication, and do actually we need to learn, or it's just we are doing it? Let us see the world map. This is a world map. See how many countries we have. If I'm correct, we have officially 196 or 98 countries in the world, right? And there are a lot of languages spoken in this different country. For example, in Chinese, they speak Mandarin. In India, they speak Hindi, English. Indonesia, Bhaji, Malaysia, Malaya. Portuguese, they speak Portuguese, Spain, Spanish, and of course, Middle East, Arabic. So when there are more than 22 or 25 official language in the world, it makes us very important to learn the cross-cultural, because as book Grace and Dr. Gasper say, language plays very important role in cross-cultural or intercultural communication. So that's why you need to understand the importance of cross-culture. But that's only the one reason? No, there are certain more other reasons. Look at the food people are eating. In all over the world, there are different kinds of food and cuisines are available. Right? For example, a person from Indonesia coming to India, so that they are going to get this food called in the form of biryani, right? So here is then another reason, because now we are living in a globalized world where there are different type of languages, different type of cuisine, different type of religions are followed. It's make us very important to learn the importance of cross-cultural and how to talk the people out of our culture. The third important reason, the religion. There are numerous religions available in the world, but most of mainly these are the religion which is followed by the world. So for example, my religion has been, an Indian is following the Hindus, which is comes here, which is this one. You as being in the Muslim side follows Muslim culture, and similarly all over the world people are following the different culture. So let's take an example. You are a businessman or you are going to work in different country. If you don't understand the importance of language, the importance of cuisine, the importance of religion, how could you be a good human being and a good businessman or a good student? These are the certain points which make this subject very important, because the world is diversified. There is not like all words are following Indonesian culture. Every city, every country generally have a different culture, and that's the beauty about this world. So these are the reasons which I wanted to give you, that's why you need to learn this subject or this topic. There is always belief that when there is a diversity, there is a strength, because all over the world people are different religion, different food, and different language. That's why we are strong, right? Because all people are different, and that's the way that make this whole world a strong world. And that's why Earth is having only planet which is surviving in this universe. But that's only the one side of the coin. If I saw the second side of the coin, sometimes the diversity brings problems. Problems maybe in your country, problems in maybe your school, maybe in your working place, because different people speak different language, understand the same word in different way, which Dr. Casper and Grace has told earlier, that maybe you are smiling as an Indonesian. It's very bad for a Russian or maybe Japanese that you are smiling without having any communication, right? So that's the way the word is creating, also facing a problem because of lack of understanding of cross culture. So the one side, where diversity is good for this word, in the second side, sometimes the diversity brings problems. Look at the example of word. Right now, there are a lot of fights happening in all over the world, including Asia till world. These all fights are happening for certain reasons. Some fights are happening because of religion issues. Some fights are happening because of land disputes. Some fights are happening or some other reason. But if you see closely, the world is struggling because most of the time people are believing that their culture, their religion, and their country is best. The rest other are not good, right? Why it is happening? Because they don't understand the concept what Dr. Gasper and Grace said, the importance of cross-cultural understanding. I, as being an Indian, I should respect and understand the Indonesian culture, and same time the Indonesian understand and respect Indian culture. That's the way we become a close friend, and that's the way there is no fight between you and me when we respect each other. Unfortunately, in a lot of part of the world, people are not respecting each other culture, diversity, and their country, and that's why complete world are fighting for different reasons, but the main reason is language, land, and religion. Now, I hope you understand that why University Flows arrange this conference or webinar on cross culture, because they want you to understand the importance of this topic. So one day when you become president of country or a big businessman, or you go out of your country for higher study, you become a good human being and you bring this world more peace and living place. That's what happened when you don't understand cross-cultural importance. You can see all over the world, people are fighting for different reasons. Some countries believe that they want Asian people to in their countries. Some people are talking about Islamophobia. Some people are saying that don't fight in the name of religion, and some people are fighting for black and white color. That's what is happening in the world. That's why it is very important for all my beloved students that they should understand the importance of cross culture, and at the same time not only understand, but they also need to learn and implement these practices in their daily life. So when next time students or my dear faculty members, you are meeting any person out of your culture, try to understand their verbal and non-verbal things, respect their things, and at the same time also make them understand about your culture so that they can also respect you. That's why I said in the starting that I learned Indonesian culture a lot of part from the first presentation, that is Dr. Gasper. He said a very well thing. We are not here to teach you. We are here to share our experience and learn same time from you. When we talk about cross-cultural communication, it's very important here to understand what do we mean by culture and communication. Communication, Dr. Gasper and Grace have given a lot of information, so I'll not waste your time on talking about communication. I'll come on the culture part first. So what is culture? Culture, I'll say that it's basically a Latin word which comes from, we call it color, which generally means the way you grow, the way you cultivate, and then how your family nurtured you. That's the way the culture developed. Culture includes a lot of things. What type of clothes I am wearing, what type of language I am speaking, what type of I'm eating, what kind of music I like, how I talk, how I sit, how I walk. These all things are included in culture, and that's why there are a lot of different cultures available in this world. Culture can also be understandable by the religion which you follow, the type of food you are eating, and at the same time, I mean, what kind of, you know, the clothes and all these parameters, or even though the color of your skin, like for example, if you see me, my eyes are small. If you see anybody from Morocco, their eyes are big. Or you see all people are having different color and eyes. That sometimes also being a part of culture. People evaluate and understand your culture sometimes just by your look and color also. Okay, so culture, it's not very clear. What is culture? The culture have a lot of layers. Have you seen onion? The onion is having a lot of layers. Similar kind of culture is having. Culture can be national level, like Indonesian culture. Culture can be religious or regional, maybe Java culture, Surabaya culture, or Jakarta culture, whatever East Java culture. Culture can be gender-wise. Female culture, male culture, your grandfather culture, your father culture, and your culture. Culture can be a social class like rich people culture, upper class, middle class people culture like us, lower class people like a poor people, their culture, and last, cultural can be organizational like an army culture, police culture, doctors culture, teachers culture, and etc. So that's a way the culture are divided into different parts, and that part, it is very important because all these parts are interrelated to each other. We cannot say that we have only national culture, but we don't have any other culture. So if you think deeply, you will see that every culture have connected with all these small parts and then make together a one complete culture of a particular person. Communication, as I said, is already shared by my fellow speakers, so I'll not waste my time more on it, except highlighting one thing. Communication is like culture is in a Latin word, which means communis, which means something which is common between you and me. So like I am talking to you, so what is common between you and me is what communist means. Rest all Dr. who is already said, so I think I'll not go with any that detail. Look at the example of different culture. Just saying greetings or hello, how the word is changed. In one side where Indonesians say Selamat Datang or Selamat Pagi or whatever the way you say, we say Namaste. In UAE, when I work, the people call it Salam Alaikum. Or if you go to any Chinese or Japanese, they say in a different way, not only by words, by gesture. What Dr. Gasper and Bugre said, the non-verbal things. Holding hands in India makes very polite. Holding hands in this way is very good in Indonesia, but holding hand in this way may be not very good in Middle East or any other country. So that's the beauty about the cross culture, a singular meaning with have a different postures and different interpretations. Similarly, same thing shared by my father. The beauty about Arabic, basically written on right to left, all other language written from left to right. So that makes Arabic as a unique writing skills. The way people meet is in India, we meet like this. Middle East, they meet like this, and that's a way. One of the important thing which Dr. Gasper has highlighted, the eye contact thing. So in Australia, even though the direct eye contact means you are honest, you respect, and you are talking very seriously. But in most of the Asian countries like Indonesia, if you are talking somebody and looking in their eyes, maybe it's a disrespectful things. And similarly, the non-verbal part, which is having a different meaning in different countries. So again, it is shared, so I'll not take more time on that. So how this culture actually impact, like I am from different culture, you are from different culture. Can I affect or influence you on accepting or not accepting any culture? It depends. It depends on few things, like what is your behavior, and from that behavior, what kind of expectations you have, right? And the same time also that while you are accepting different culture or understanding different culture, what kind of problems you may or may not face. So let us understand first what is behavior. When I say behavior, behavior is what? Behavior is when there's a certain situation comes, how you reflect. For example, if I say you hello, are you going to say hello back to me? Or are you going to say nothing? Or are you going to just start laughing, right? That is basically reflects sometimes your behavior. Behavior can also like maybe in the one side, as this picture is reflecting, you can play and shout in the ground, but in the second time, there is an expectation from you that when you are in seminar, conference, or maybe in class, you sit quiet and listen the speaker. That's again part of behavior. People divided good and bad behavior. I believe that again it depends on culture to culture. Anything which is good in Indonesia can be a bad behavior in India. Anything which is good behavior in India can be bad behavior in Indonesia. So again, the behavior changes the meanings in country to country and religion to religion and communication to communication. What things create and influence your behavior? The number one is your age. Are you from the generation which is very old, like your grandfather? Are you from the generation of your father? Or are you in the generation of, that's what we call millennial generation or Z generation? What kind of job you are doing also impact your behavior. If you are in a which requires you to be very polite, like teaching, hospital, right? And that's the way your behavior develops. One of the important factor comes from behavior development is family background and the country which you are in. So if your family background, generally support in a kid that what kind of culture and behavior is going to follow it. Let us see the example of when we talk about culture or a behavior pattern. It's a very well-known concept called Iceberg Evaluation. This is what we call it iceberg. The more you see in the top, it is more big under the water. So similarly, like culture, when you see anybody, like I am from different culture, I am talking. So you see only this part, my language, my clothes, and how I am talking to you, right? But there are other things involved in that culture, like my traditions, right? How I am thinking, how I generate the ideas and the perception, how when I'm talking to you and when I'm seeing you, what kind of perception I am coming from you, like are you serious? Are you listening me or not? Or you are just here because your university said to sit. So that's my back mind perception. So what you cannot see, my side is this, the big part. What you are seeing is a small part. So you are seeing only this, but the culture is included all this. That's where the lot of effort is required. So let's see an example how Indonesia, I take an example of Indonesia and India. So this is what happened when two culture people are talk. They see only the behavior part, but they generally don't see the values and the expectation which Dr. Gasper and Rugres said. We see this, but we expect this, and we see this. So for example, see, but you expect another things from me, which I don't know because I am from different culture. I am seeing you in camera, and I am expecting something without telling. So that Dr. Gasper has the very wonderful example, like when the American asked the students, have you done your homework? So he said nothing. He gave an example that, okay, my friend came and I went to mall, but he didn't answer. So what the another culture American teacher is expecting, he's expecting this, but the student has give this. So that's where the cultural clash things comes. Two culture, when they don't understand, that there is a dispute and the fight, and that's what we are talking about in the first of the presentation. That is the beauty about cultural clash. For the one people, it may be good, the another people is not good, because the behavior and the understanding happen in general form in cultural clash situations. Because there are a lot of things, I'll run a very wonderful video about cross-cultural clash and understanding. I request you to just see this video, because that video is basically help you to understand what happened when you don't understand.
Assalamualaikum.
Good morning.
Morning, Shira.
Morning. Hi. Good morning. Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, so sorry. Assalamualaikum. Yeah. Sit down.
So, was it hard for you to get here?
No, no.
I was already waiting for 1 hour. Yes.
How are you?
I'm fine.
How's your life?
Good.
So what are you doing lately?
I don't have any friends. Travel around. Alone. But Mr. Abdullah, we're here for business today, so let's talk about business.
Okay. Okay. So this is our performance for our production. You got it? Yeah. Yes, you got it? So when we gonna make the deal?
Okay, I think.
You would think?
Yes.
Mr. Hans, please come.
Okay.
Hello, Mr. Hans. How are you?
I'm fine.
Yeah,
Good.
I'm pleased to meet you. So, how are you, bro?
I'm fine. And
Ah, I'm fine too. So, long time no see.
you? What your family?
My family is good. How about yours?
I'm also good.
Long. I did not eat yet.
We go to eat then. It's time to
Pray. Okay, we can go to pray together. Let's go.
So I personally like this video a lot because this video basically gives an idea of how the cross-culture things change all the situation. Although everybody is correct from their culture and their country's point of view, but sometimes it gives a wrong message or wrong impression to the other guy, and that's a way a bad thing happen. So where's the problem? I mean, when we know there are a lot of type of cultures in this world, why we just don't accept other culture and make it easy? Why there is a fight in all over the world, right? There's a reason behind it, that why we are feeling very hard when we're talking about other cultures or different religion or different country. First of all, you need to understand that culture starts when you are a kid, right? The behavior patterns and the things started when you are a kid. So the root of a culture is very deep. It's very hard to change or adapt or remove anything from you, because it started when you take a birth as a baby, and till now the culture, the things are developed in your personality. So it's very hard. That's why there's always cultural clash happen. Number thing, the culture is generally incorporate with your personality. Whether you are conscious or not conscious, you automatically, your personality follow your culture, right? So that's why it is very hard a lot of time people to accept other people culture, because their behavior and their personality is not ready to accept something new. It's a neuroscience which is talking about here, right? The something comes, so your mind try to reject those things. That's why, because the personality is an interculture, or a culture is basically incorporate to each other, and your culture help to develop personality, and at the same time the personality help your culture to develop, right? Culture also develop the belief system, right? So when you are a kid, your parents taught you that, okay, you are this particular person of religion, that you need to eat, that's a way you need to pray, that time you have to sleep, that you have to wake up, that's the way you sing, that's the way you dance, that's the way you wear clothes. And that belief system makes very hard a lot of time for a people and to accept other culture, and that's the problem of cultural barriers. That's because your personality, your behavior, your belief is not allowing other culture with you. And the most reason, it's already I have said that what is your belief systems, how you incorporate others' culture. One of the important point which I want to tell most of the student is ethnostatism. Please remember this word. This word means when I believe my culture, my religion, and my country is best, and according of my culture and my religion, I believe the other culture people should behave, right? So that which this picture is showing, this guy culture is generally to shake hands while talking to other people or meeting new people. But in Japanese or other culture, they don't shake hands. They just present the cards when they are meeting the student. So ethnocentrism is very bad, especially in terms of intercultural and cross-culture communication. So please study more about this. There are a lot of books available on this that will open your mind more and help you to understand to become more important. Especially for the students, when you go out of your city or maybe out of your country for study, for tourism purposes, this cultural shock is nothing. It's about when you go to a new country from Indonesia right now to Canada. So Indonesia, the temperature is 40 degrees. In the Canada, temperature may be minus. So the climate, food, clothing systems, and other systems, when you come to the new culture, your mind, your personality are on shocking mode, and that shocking mode is called cultural shock. And that's time, a lot of the time people get even though sick, because once they travel to a new country, a new place, they get sick because of this cultural shock, because your personality, your mind is not ready to accept the new way. This part is already shared by Dr. Grass and Boo Grace, some part of Boo Grace also. There are high and low context culture. As Dr. Grass very well said that most of the generally non or a low context culture, because they love to stay alone. They don't stay with the family, right? Once you are 18 years old, you need to go off your house. You need to find job. You need to find your own home. And that's the way the low context works. Despite countries like Indonesia and India, we become 30, 35 years old, still with our father and mother, and also same time helping them. That's the high context. That part is also covered by Dr. Gasp and Boo Grace. My only input is that please remember this one, overcome the ethnocentrism. Don't think that only your religion, your country is superior, right? And don't make assumption that according to you, other culture people will talk and behave, right? Respect other culture, and that's the way they respect your things, right? And that's the way the cultural communication happens. We respect each other. When we talk about cross culture, and India are of different cultural people in our country, especially in India. We have a different kind of culture: Jainism, Buddhism, Sikhism, Hindu, Muslims, Christianity. Every culture is available in India, and that's why we call it Incredible India, because it's a single country, it's a small country. Together they become a big country, which we call it India. I'll run a short video again so that we get an idea about India, and that's the way I'd like to end my lecture here with this video. patiently watching these videos. I, on behalf of India, would like to invite you all in India. Please, if you want to understand the cross culture and the importance of different culture, I think India is going to be the best place for you to explore different kind of religion, cuisines, and the language. With this note, thank you very much. I hand over back to the host.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Rahul Bandari, PG, DM, Master of Computer, for your presentation, for giving us such an amazing and interesting presentation. It was an informative topic for us to enjoy. Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we still have one speaker. Our fourth speaker for today's webinar is Mr. Shira Bhaji. He is one of the lecturer at English Letter Study Program, Faculty of Language and Literature, Flores University. Now he is a rector of Universitas Flores. He obtained his Sarjana degree, major in English language education at Undiana University, and took his master in English language teaching at San Carlos University, Manila, Philippines, and took his doctor degree in English language and literature at De La Salle University, Manila, Philippines. Now, allow me to welcome our fourth speaker for today's international webinar, Dr. Simon Shira, Master of Arts, to make his presentation. Mr. Simon, time is yours.
Thank you very much, Marianus Moraliru, as the moderator. My dear participants, as guests, I'll make my presentation very short because I understand that many of the participants are already tired and exhausted. Well, my topic is a little bit different, a little more specific about the cross-cultural. I will discussion on cross-linguistic standing in academic institutions. As we see it, next slide, please. As we have discussed so far with other presenters, that language and culture are very closely related, even you can say that are entwined. They cannot be separated one from the other. And although we can speak certain language fluently, but it is necessary that we can understand their culture very well, because like Mr. Raul has just discussed, that culture is something to do with values, something to do with beliefs, and it's difficult to understood by other people. So when we discuss or we speak the language, sometimes it's difficult for us to understand their language. Next. Time of the era, globalization and digitalization, people migrate from one place to another very easily. And this make language and culture come in contact very easily. In this case, there might be some problem when culture and language interact in one place. Before, when our forefathers lived in separate area, there are no communication. I don't think they will discuss cross-cultural understanding like we do today, because they have their own culture, they have their own belief, values, and so on. But nowadays, we need to discuss cross-cultural understanding. Next slide, please. Hello. Next slide, please. I'll make it very fast. Next slide. Next slide, please. Now, this is what I want to say. We say that language is a part of culture, but sometimes we can see from different perspectives. Language, in fact, make culture develops, like what is discussed here by Greenspan and Sankar. It was the acquisition of language that made us human, not our larger brains or our ability to walk on two legs. Language enables human beings to develop complex and novel thoughts. Basic agriculture. It can be communicated at a speed and with an economy rivalled by any non-human communication system. But it can be said that language becomes the instrument for human civilization to progress. Next slide, please. Now, if culture is defined as the characteristics and patterns of behavior of a group of people, then we can say that any group of people who share the same characteristics, the same pattern of behavior, the same beliefs, share the same values, we can say that they are a group of people that have their own culture and they form a cultural entity. Now, an academic as an organization, it has values, practices, shared. Next slide, please. One important aspect of academic culture is the language. Why? Because the core practice of an academic institution is the instruction. Now, instruction is essentially communication. And as has been said by the previous presenters, in communication, language plays a central role. Like any other aspect of academic culture, which are different from other cultures, the language of academic institution is different from the language of other cultures. Next slide, please. The differences between academic language and language of instruction or language of instruction and ordinary or everyday language may to some extent hinder the learning process. Now, there are two possible situations in which the learners may face difficulties with the language of instruction. Next slide, please. Number one, in the first situation, the language of instruction in schools is different from the native language of the students, especially at elementary level. The classroom instruction will not run properly, and this may result in a failure on the part of the students. Now, schools with this condition are urged to teach the students in their native language instead of the language of the mainstream. Now we can imagine that when a students from rural area who do not speak, who only speak their native language or their mother tongue, and they enter into primary school, elementary school, and they are taught in the language of the mainstream, For example, in Flores, people from villages come and they're taught in Bahasa Indonesia. Of course, they will have difficulties. Now, if at the level of elementary school, they already have difficulties in learning, we cannot expect much from them when they proceed to secondary level. We cannot expect much from them. Therefore, we need to teach them in their mother tongue. Of course, the teaching in the school with their mother tongue must eventually lead them to learn the language of the mainstream. Next slide, please. In the second situation, the language of instruction is also the language of the learners. Now, the learners also speak the language of the instruction. However, the learners may face difficulties in following the instruction due to the fact that language proficiency required in academic setting is different from the one outside. Cummins used the terms CALP and BICS to refer to these two types of proficiency respectively. Next slide, please. BICS stands for Basic Interpersonal Communicative Skills, while CALP is Cognitive Academic Language Proficiency. Now, as the name implies, it's understood that BICS is the skill that is necessary for day-to-day living, conversation with friends or with family members, which are what is called context embedded. We don't speak complete language, but understanding is held by the context, while CALP is necessary for understanding and talking about content in schools. Now, this type of language is a complete language, perfect language. Many times it's out of context, situational context, I mean. So we depend totally on our background knowledge about the language and also presented in a text or it must be remembered that pretty skillful in BICS or in interpersonal communication might not perform well in schools due to the fact that BICS is simple language, which is different from CALP, which is complicated language. Last slide, please. Students who enter school with no knowledge of the language of instruction in school must be taught in their mother tongue. The instruction must lead to the acquisition of mainstream language. That will lead them to the learning of CALP, of course. BICS and CALP are two different but related skills. Of course, CALP develops upon the basic of BICS. However, the proficiency of BICS does not guarantee that the proficiency curve will be easily acquired. Students must learn how to acquire the proficiency in CALP. And the last one is CALP is built on BICS. I think that's all I can share. Thank you very much for the attention.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Simon Shira Bhaji, Master of Art, for giving an informative and interesting presentation. Well, dear participants, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Simon and other speakers will answer your question that were sent to us during the presentation in Q&A session after this session. Well, that's the end of our first session presentation for today's international webinar. We will continue to the next session Q&A after this. We will break in 5 minutes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my dear participant, now we come to the next session for today's international webinar, Q&A, question and answer. We read some questions that were sent to us during the presentation. Well, I hope that all the speakers in this Zoom meeting. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my dear participant, I already have 10 questions here. So first question came from Mr. Putut. So the question is addressed to first speaker, Mr. Besin Gaspar. He asked about if we visit a country, how do the body language meaning when she or he use. So I think it's an interesting question to discuss with Mr. Gaspar.
Shall I respond to the question now?
Yes.
Okay,
please.
right. Thank you. So, in response to Pak Putut, one of my colleagues at the university. Now, well, I would like to put it this way. Communication is effective if everything you say is completed with the body language or verbs. So not only the words, but after you say the words, and then you make it complete by using some gestures or any body language, right? Now, your question is about if we haven't visited a country before, how are you going to understand the body language or the culture? Let's say it's about the use of thumb, or maybe this one. So we are talking about the high context culture and the low context culture. Now, in using the body language, the thumb, and sometimes it is combined with the index finger to make a circle like this, right? Like this one. This kind of gesture has different meaning in different cultures. Indonesian, American, if you say something like this, it means it's okay. For example, when people ask you, now, how is the program, or how was the party, how was the seminar? Then you say, oh, if you say this one, means it's okay, right? It's okay. But when you in Japanese context, when you talk about this much, you don't talk about the success of the program, but you're talking about the money. For example, you say, well, actually, our plan for the camping program is okay, but our problem is this. And then you show the circle. It means that you have a problem with money. So for Japanese, in Japanese culture, it means money problem. So the problem is this one. But again, one day when you are in Latin America, Brazil, once you point out this, then the people there will be very angry because this is very vulgar. I think it is something to do with the, what is it, sexual intercourse or something like that one. So we don't use this one when you are in the United States. I think they are going to, will be very impolite. So So that's why my recommendation is that before we go or we meet for community, we have to learn. That's the key. Thank you, Pak Putut.
Well, thank you, Mr. Gaspar, for your explanation about Mr. Putut's question. And next question comes from Ani Kleta and Kusuma Wijaya from Fakultas Sastra Unitomo. Well, Ani Kleta, Mrs. Ani Kleta and Kusuma Wijaya addressed their question to second speaker, Ibu Grace. Well, question number 2 from Ani Kleta. Our culture and theirs are different. So in this case, maybe with other countries. So how do we minimize our misunderstanding? That's question from Mrs. Ani Kleta. And next question from Mr. Kusuma Wijaya from Fakultas Sastra Unitomo. What should English learners do to master English competence for conducting intercultural communication? Okay, time and place is yours, Ms. Ibu Grace. Maybe you still mute. I'm sorry, dear participant. Okay.
Make a communication or communicate with Western people, especially English American or English-speaking people from abroad.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Miss Ibu Grace, to interrupt your explanation, but we have a problem with. Do you have a problem with that sound?
The sound?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
May I continue?
Yes. Okay.
I try to answer any class question from Faculty of Letters, Dr. Sutomo University. How to minimize our misunderstanding between the two cultures, Indonesian people and their who have different cultural background. As I stated in my presentation, so there are some do's and don'ts that we communicate with other people from different background, different cultural background. So before we communicate, we try to learn, for example, the language, and then the culture in that language, behavior, and maybe we may add the artifacts or the object of the culture. And then every nation has their ethics. So we get to know the ethics, yeah, and then to minimize misunderstanding, maybe if we cannot speak or just a little bit, just a passive English, we cannot speak English very well, or even we speak English very well, but we didn't or we do not understand about the culture, yeah, how to behave or how to act with people from Western culture. Maybe we should provide the interpreter who understand both both language and culture between the two languages. So it can minimize our misunderstanding if we do not know or we don't understand the language, the culture at all of that language, for example, English. And for the first time when we met someone from other country, maybe we should speak slowly and we avoid slang and to minimize, I think, before we get a conversation to someone else, we learn not only language, but their culture as well. So this is the way how to minimize our misunderstanding. If you understand, we learn from cross-cultural understanding courses or any other webinar, seminar, or workshop about cross-cultural communication or cross-cultural education. And if we do not have we do not have knowledge about other cultural, I think we should have or provide an interpreter to make our communication run smoothly with these two different cultural backgrounds. I think my answer to Anikleta Yuliastuti from Faculty of Letters from Dr. Sutomo University. Is it answer your questions? Anikleta, hello. Anikleta?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Ani, is it answer your question?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
It's okay. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, you're welcome, Guani. The next question from
Kusuma Wijaya.
Wijaya, the same place, Faculty of Letters, Dr. Sutomo University. He raised the questions: what should English learners do to master English competence for conducting intercultural communication? Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, so in master English, to have English proficiency, teacher, in this case, teachers should teach cross-cultural understanding materials in the class, not only giving the subject, something like grammar, syntax, speaking, reading, listening, and writing as the language skills in the classroom, but also some other topics of discussion related to cross-cultural understanding. That is why we, as a teacher, lecturer, or tutors of English,
try to balance the students' competencies in both language and culture, especially those who learn English, by giving cross-cultural understanding courses. And if it doesn't exist in in the faculty or in the study program, the cross-cultural understanding subject or course, may in a speaking or public speaking subject, we train our students' ability in delivering materials and encourage them creativity in creating classroom with cross-cultural understanding aspect. I mean, by giving resources, something like new article or short story about real life, as was provided by Mr. Rahul about the negotiation, between the two cultures. So students can, what is something like criticize the video or the article or the story about the difference between the two cultures, the students' culture and the target language culture. And then it may, the teacher will or may use video, as Mr. Rahul showed us, and then maybe from picture and also from blog. So for students who learn English in academic institutions, start from junior high school, senior high school, university level, should provide this cross-cultural understanding courses. This is my opinion, to make or to minimize our misunderstanding between the two cultures when we meet Western people from Western culture. And then when learner who autodidactly learn English, they may search resources to know more about Western culture. What should they do, or what should they don't? I think this is the what is to balance the students' competency in English or English proficiency and also English culture. So we should, as a lecturer or teacher in an academic institution, should give a lesson relating to cross-cultural understanding. I think that's all, Mr. Kusuma. Is it answer your question, Mr. Kusuma?
Well, a very enlightening answer, Ibu Grace. Thank you very much. And also for Bapak Marianus, thank you very much then.
Okay.
Thank you for a brief explanation about some tips or techniques how to build English competence for conducting intercultural communication. Well, the fourth and fifth question here addressed to the first speaker, Mr. Gaspar. First question from Maria Juliana Neno Wolor. So he is Indonesian, especially NTT, high context culture. So he asked about what should I do when I communicate with people from low context culture.
Okay.
And the next questions are from Maria Densiana Raru about how can through understanding of this value dimension help us to better understand and categorize different types of non-verbal communication?
Okay,
That's the question.
thank you, moderator. First, I'm going to reply the question from Mariana Juliana.
Yes.
The question is, what should we do when we have to communicate with people coming from low cultures?
Low context
So
culture.
again, in my map, one that I showed in my PPT, those coming from low cultures are United States, Canada, and Western Europe, right? Those from Middle East are coming in between. Those are low cultures. Now, these are the tips. Number one, try to be explicit. Don't beat around the bush. So if they ask a question, have you finished your report? The answer should be the message of the answer should be provided in the beginning. Illustration comes later. So don't say, well, actually, this those coming from Timor, well, actually, I wanted to finish it, but after you stop, no answer. It's not active. So say it first. Have you or you have not? And then the reason will come later. That will be good. So that one. And then low context culture mostly they communicate with someone with full eye contact. That's an important point. So it's quite difficult for those coming from Nusa Tenggara, because when you talk to someone with high position, then we prefer to look down on the floor, especially if you do something wrong, you look down on the floor. They expect you to have contact, right? That's an important point. And number three, try when you communicate with people from low culture, try to avoid expressions like "I will try." Right? So maybe in bahasa Indonesia you say "saya usahakan," oh maybe, right? Or you say "I hope so." Those coming from low context culture do not like that. They are going to say yes or no. For example, right, excuse me, can you come here tomorrow at 7 a.m.? Then you say maybe, or I will try. No, they want you to say yes or no. This is the typical characteristics of monochronic cultures. Monochronic cultures, our culture, Indonesian, including Nusa Tenggara, is polychronic. So in monochronic, time is money, fixed, yes or no. But our time is very flexible. Our time is very flexible, Maria Juliana. In my first they very we have to avoid in order to be successful in the communication. That is my response to Mariana. And then the second one, Marianus, could you rephrase again the question of number 2 about the values?
The question is to talk about how can, through understanding of this value dimension, help us to better understand and categorize different types of nonverbal communication.
Okay, right. So we are talking about how to categorize the nonverbal communication. Well, nonverbal communication varies from countries to countries, from culture to culture. This is one thing that usually have different meaning in different cultures, in different contexts. Like one of the examples that I gave, right? So we have to be very careful with this one. One thing is that so the key success in using the non-verbal communication tools is that first, I think we have to change our mind. So this is the key word, be open-minded and be broad-minded. Some people treat these terms the same, open-minded and broad-minded. But for me, open-minded and broad-minded refer to different things. Open-minded means you try to accept new things, right? But broad-minded means being tolerant. You try to understand why people do that one, and then try to respect them, right? Try to respect them. So respect is the key for broad-minded, right? So someone who is open-minded may be not broad-minded, right? So that's the key if we are going to be successful to understand the values. So broad-minded, respect, and also the being tolerant, right? I think that's the key for the communication. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Gaspar, but I still have one question dealing with your explanation before. It's about the body language. So question from Johannes Joandi Nenojata here asks about how to understand to each other, especially about their body language.
Okay, this is I think mostly related to business communication. When people try to communicate in business, how are we going to try to understand the body language? Now, maybe there is a good video, the one that shown by Mr. Rahul. I think it is quite clear that usually body language also can cause misunderstanding and also miscommunication, and also can make someone offended, right? So this is the point. So maybe Johannes Johannes' question is about what is it? How to how to express or how to use the body language, right? Now, this is my advice. Ideally, if you are going to try to make the communication successful, try to avoid using body language. Makes everything clear using the words, because body language sometimes can have different meaning. This is one thing that we are going to do, because in the goal of communication is to make the meaning understood. Sometimes you are going to use body language to make it clear, but actually it's not to make it clear, but to make it confusing.
Yes.
A different meaning. You make some people offended, right? That is a big problem, right? Try to avoid that if you are not sure, right? That is my advice to Johannes. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Gaspar, for your explanation. Here, we still have more question from participant. Question from Mr. Putut and Mr. Kusuma Wijaya, addressed for third speaker, our guest speaker, Mr. Rahul. Well, Mr. Rahul?
Yeah, can you please tell me the questions?
Okay. Well, question number one from Mr. Putut. India is rich of culture as the same as Indonesian culture. May we know about the Indian's culture in the term of body language, as seen in Mr. Bessin's explanation.
Right. So
and the second one is
what's the question? I don't understand the question.
Oh, yeah, okay.
What is the question?
The question is about the Indian cultures in the term of non-verbal language, body language.
So can I see the participant who asked? Can you just raise your hand? At least I know whom I am answering. Which student have asked this question?
Mr. Putut, please raise your hand.
Mr. Putut, can I see?
And turn on your video. Mr. Putut, I'm sorry, Mr. Putut Handoko. Please turn on your video so Mr. Rahul can see your face. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
About the body language, right? For example, nodding or using tongue and other body language in India. What does it mean? Thank you.
So thank you very much, Mr. Putut. I believe it's very hard to understand the body language, especially in India, because India is having a lot of cultures. For example, if I take an example of any country, an example of Indonesia, where 99% people are following one religion and one culture, it's very easy to understand their non-verbal postures, right? In India, when every 100 kilometers you will find a new language, different religion, and different people. So it's very hard to focus more on non-verbal. So what Dr. Gasper has said very well, that when you are not aware, don't see non-verbal things. Make sure you clear everything by words, right? Because even though if I tell you, if in India people say like this, that means yes. Maybe in other part of India, that means, okay, you don't like him or her, right? So please, whenever you visit any India or whenever you meet any Indian, don't focus on body language. More focused on word will be help. The body language, with the permission of Dr. Gasper, because he's an expert on that side, can be more effective a country like Japan and all this, because they put a lot of emphasis on body language and posture, like how you stand, how you bow down. The more senior you are, the other person need to bow down more. So they don't believe a lot on words. They believe more on body language. So India is not that country where you need to focus more on body language. You should focus more on words, I think.
Okay. Okay.
What is the next question? I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Putut. And next question.
Moderator, could I say something to give more information about Mr. Rahul's response to Pak Putut? Could I say something?
Please. Okay.
Yes. Thank you. Shortly, in Japanese culture, in doing business with Japanese culture, I agree with Mr. Rahul that they use a lot of non-verbal communication. For example, keeping silent. It has something special in business. For example, you ask, Mr. Yamamoto, so do you accept our proposal? He just keeps quiet and smile. And after that, finished. No more, no less. What does it mean? You have to guess the meaning. So be careful with the symbol of silence. Or maybe after thinking for a while, he's going to say, Mr. Yamamoto, do you accept our proposal? Smile a little bit, but smile, a bitter smile. Maybe we call it bitter smile. And they say, I will talk it over with my boss. It implies, this is implicator. So it implies that maybe 75 to 80% your proposal is refused, turned down. But he doesn't want to say that because he's from high context culture. It is impolite to say no directly to our business partner. So say something softly. I will talk to my boss. Actually, he is the decision maker, right? So it's already finished actually, but he said, I will talk to my boss. So you should understand what is not said. right? No body language, but you should see the way he smiles. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gaspar. And the next question still for Mr. Rahul. Came from Mr. Kusuma Wijaya. Is it important for those who study economics or business major to learn and master English for conducting intercultural communication?
All right, can I see Mr. Kusuma?
Okay, Mr. Kusuma, please turn on your video. And
I'm sorry, my style of culture is to see people and say hi first before answering.
Thank you,
Mr. Okay, Mr.
Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. Kusuma, I mean, that's a very wonderful question, I must say that. If you see the importance of cross-culture, this comes because of globalization. And globalization is a baby of economics and business, right? So if the country close its boundary and say that I'm not going to talk to my neighboring country, I will not do any business, I think the cross culture is not important, because you are going to talk to only your people, you are doing business only in Indonesia. What is the use to learn cross culture? But just because of economics and the growing demand of business, the globalization happened in early 1980s, and the world boundaries are open. People are traveling from one country to another, talking to each other, and that's a way the cross-cultural importance comes in the planet, right? The second thing which you say about the language, if I'm saying the master of English, I must say that unfortunately the majority of the world are taking English as a communication language, right? Most of the countries still speak English as a term of different cultural communication. But if I'm correct, the most spoken language is either Spanish or French, or the third one is Arabic, I think. So yes, for being in a cross culture, so far English is the most dominating language. But I believe that when I say language, it does not focus only on English or any particular language. Language could be in any mode, because if you go to, it's my personal experience, if I go to maybe as I say Japan, or if I go to France, even though the people know English, they will not talk to you in English. They want you to speak in their native language. Like in France, they pushed me to speak in French, so that then only they are going to communicate. So that's a different way, which I'm not going to put it here. But yes, for any students who are from business or economics background, it is must, because they are a part of globalization. And second, yes, to being in a good on cross culture, unfortunately right now people are more focusing on English language, because it's the most in terms of number, the most business level language is considered in the world right now. So I believe I come on the point where you are looking for the answer, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rahul. A very impressive answer, and well, again, thank you for the enlightenment from the answer.
Thank you, Pastor.
Well, thank you, Mr. Rahul and Mr. Kusuma Wijaya. Okay, next question from Auntie Seran, addressed to Ibu Grace as the speaker. What should we do when, as a native speaker, we make a mistake when we try to communicate with others using English language and ends up with a misunderstanding? Okay, that's the question, Ibu Grace. What should we do when, as a native speaker, we make a mistake when we try to communicate with others? In this case, about for the English learners, when they try to communicate with other people using English language.
Okay. What does it mean we are as a native speaker? Indonesian.
Yes, Mr. Antipasera is Indonesian.
Okay. Thank you very much, Seran, if I'm not mistaken. That is a good question. If we have already, for example, because of our, because we didn't understand about how to communicate with Western people, so we make a mistake in communication. So please, maybe the first step is beg your pardon, understand what he or she is speaking, and if you have done or a mistake, for example, you realize that, oh, my sentence or my speaking is wrong, to reply or to sorry, yeah, to reply or to answer speakers' questions or interruption or yeah, something like that. You may say honestly, if you don't understand, please give a question or ask something about my my sentence or my speaking. To make it clear, you may say in a clear language. Yeah, right. Speaking to Western people, for example, for tourists, you try to describe what you mean by delivering your sentence or words. So I think that is the first step. If you have already made mistake and you say apologize to that mistake. I think this is know how to apologize. And first lesson, yeah, from the experience that we have already discussed today, or speakers, cultural workshop or also something like webinar. So I think that's all from me. Is it answer my your questions, Susan?
Yes, thank you. It's clear, bro, according to Mr. Yaran.
Atau kamu yang bahagia dan sudah semua pakai anjing, begitu.
Well, thank you, Ibu Grace, for your explanation about cross-cultural understanding for the English learners. Well, I still have one question for Mr. Rahul. Mr. Rahul, this question came from Hendra. She asked about how to manage a good negotiation with other people from with their own cultures, as you saw us from your video role play before. So she asked about how to manage a good negotiation in business.
Can I see the
Hendra, please, Mr. Hendra, please turn on your video. So Mr. Hendra, Mr. Hendra, please turn on your videos. I'm sorry, please turn on camera, so Mr. Rahul can make communication with you.
because it's very important. The student is here who might answer.
Yes.
So
Okay,
just
okay,
want to-
Mr. Hendra. Mr. Hendra.
Who is this?
Hello,
Yeah,
Mr. Hendra.
I think might be there. So anyway, I'll answer for other students also. So the question is how to negotiate.
Yes.
With a practical experience, because my work is as an international relations to deal with different country people, and I, as being a director, I need to negotiate a lot of activities, MOUs, and agreements while we are signing with a different country. So the most important or the basic thing is that whichever country people I am talking and I am doing, I do a thorough study about them. I'll study their do and don'ts, that if I'm going on Indonesia, what culture they follow. If I'm going to suppose University of Flores, what kind of environment they follow. I'm talking to suppose Bu Grace, what kind of educational background Bu Grace is having, what is her expertise. So when I'm going to meet them, I have all the necessary information with me, so that when I sit with them and talk to them, they don't feel different and awkward when I'm answering these questions. So I also understand the cultural shock part, which I shared in my presentation. I also understand these people are from different religion. In that different religion, what kind of verbal and non-verbal messages needs to be flowed, right? So that's a way we do lot of preparation before talking or negotiating with any other culture people, especially in terms of business. But in the same time, if I'm making a friend in a country, I do the same kind of study that under his or her religion or culture, what are good things and what are the bad things. Give an example. Hindu background. I am from Indian culture. So if you are you are going to be you are going to be my friend. So I should know that as being I'm making a friend from a different culture, what are the things Muslim people don't follow? What are the things I need to avoid when I'm talking to those people? So that's a way most of the businessmen or people do a proper homework before going for any negotiation on the table. Once we have a proper information, the chances of getting positive response from the next party is very high. It's not 100% sure, but the chances are quite high because we know what to speak, how to speak, or when to speak. I hope I hand over back to you, sir.
Hello, Mr. Ra.
Yes, Mr. Rahul, thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Rahul, for your explanation. There is no more box.
Mr. Moderator, I noticed in the chat that there was a question for me from Maria Desiani, which I did not respond completely. It's about collectivism and individualism. So is it okay for me to give a brief reply to the question?
I'm sorry about that, Mr. Gaspar. Okay. Time is yours.
Is it okay?
It's okay, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
For Maria Desiani, is she still in the room? Right. Now, okay, I didn't see your question, but I saw I just found it in that one. Okay, let me talk about that.
I'm sorry, Mr. Gaspar. Let me check first about the question from
Maria Desiani. It's about individualism and collectivism.
Okay,
value dimension.
I will read the question for you, Mr. Gaspar. Please explain some of this non-verbal communication that can be related to the individualism and collectivism culture value dimension. That's the question based on.
Okay, right. To respond to the questions, first I have to say that we Indonesian belong to the collectivism. So for us, big family, big groups is more important than something that is very personal. And then the opposite, if individualism, maybe the Western, for them, individual is the most important. Now, this is the implication, Bu Maria. The implication that for us as collectivism is more important. If your friend asks you to say yes and no, sometimes you say yes, but the meaning is no. So if someone say, do you think that you can write? Can you lend me 1 million because I need that one? And then you say you don't want. Actually, you don't have any money, but you just say yes, I will try, because you don't want to lose your friend. You want to keep the relationship. You say no, but actually you don't have any money. But this is collectivism. You respect your partner and you want to have a long life relationship. You don't want to say no. If you say no, maybe she will be very disappointed. So you say, yes, I will try. But actually you don't want to do that one. So say no means yes, or yes means no. This is one of the implications. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gaspar, for your explanation. And I'm sure that all participants will enjoy this discussion because they already get more information about cross-cultural understanding. Well, there is no occasion in chat box, so before we are close our international webinar, so I would like to give a chance to first speaker, Mr. Gaspar, and the third speaker, Mr. Raul, to give a closing statement. Okay, first chance I will give to Mr. Gaspar to give a closing
okay,
statement.
thank you, Marianus, as the moderator today. I'm talking about language, communication, and culture. Right now, the main problem in communication between people from different culture is that sometimes you try to maintain your ego. You want other culture to understand you, and they didn't do that, right? And that's why communication failed. To be successful, the understanding should come from both sides. High context and low context. High should be going down and low should be going up. And then you are going to meet in the middle. Try to understand each other. So try to don't maintain your ego. That's the point. Don't maintain your ego. Avoid ethnocentrism. Right? Good. Right? To do that, I think communication between different cultures will be successful. That's my last statement.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gaspar, for your closing statement. And next, I will give a chance to Mr. Rahul to give a closing statement about.
First of all, thank you very much. It's been, I believe, very hard for you as an host to arrange all those things. I only request all my young fellow students that don't take cross-culture thing as a subject. Just see around the world, you will find that the world is absolutely in chaos. If you see any part of the world, you will see that people are fighting for so many reasons, right? And the main reason, which I believe, as per my experience, is the difference of understanding, difference of language, and at the same time, difference of culture. So you people are young generation. If you understand this high-low context, which Dr. Gaspar has said, if you understand and respect other cultures, the problem of the world will solve very easily. We are old, we did mistake, our time is finished. This is your time. You are the people who can only bring change in this world. And we have a lot of hope from all of you. So please take this kind of topic, not as a subject to earn credit or marks, or maybe certificate. Take this as an opportunity to change the world. with this note, thank you very much once again, all the students who listen us very silently and patiently. Thank you very much, University of Flores, to invite me. And it's my honor to meet all my fellow speakers and share this experience. Terima kasih. Thank you very much.
Terima kasih. Thank you very much. And Mr. Rao, how to say thank you in Indian language?
Okay. Dhanyawad.
Dhanyawad.
Dhanyawad. It's that okay? My pronunciation. Dhanyawad.
Yeah. Everything is okay,
Yeah, okay.
till the feelings are attached with those words. It's okay.
Okay, thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, finally we come to the end of this international webinar. Before closing the international webinar, I want to draw conclusion about the speaker. Well, language and culture are inseparable. Cross-cultural understanding play a significant role in communicating with people from different countries. And to be successful in doing communication with other people, a person needs to know about the knowledge of the culture and communicative competence and pragmatic competence. And intercultural, cross-cultural communication is challenging people in doing their daily communication. One important aspect of academic culture is language. It means that the language of academic institution is different from the language of other culture. So it means that if the student who enter the school with no knowledge of the language of institution in school must be taught in their mother tongue. Well, dear participant and all the speakers, I would like to say thank you very much for all the speakers, Mr. Rahul, Mr. Gaspar, Mr. Simon, and Ibu Grace. And also I would like to say thank you for all the participants for their participation in this international webinar. Well, I would like to say terima kasih. Thank you very much, and see you next time in other occasion. Good afternoon, and I will give a time to Master of Ceremony, Priska.
Okay, thank you so much to our moderator, Mr. Marga, for arranging the session from the beginning of material exposure to Q&A session very well. And thank you to all the speakers for giving insight into cross-cultural understanding for all of us. Let's give a big applause for them. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, with the end of this question and answer session, it means that our activities will be over, but before it will be good for us to seize this moment together. So let's take a picture for documentation. So for all the participants and the speakers, please stay on your camera and prepare yourself in good photo session as comfortably as possible. And I will count 1, 2, 3. Be ready. 1, 2, 3. Okay, once again, don't forget to say cheese. 1, 2, 3. Cheese. Okay, thank you so much for all the participants. And for information to all the participants, please fill the attendance list. The link is lined up in the chat box. For those who haven't filled out the attendance list, please fill out. Okay. And before we close our webinar, I would like to say thank you for our honorable speaker, Mr. Rahul Bandari. Bohat Dhanyawad. Itu bahasa for Indian. Okay, I'll try.
Thank you, Miss Kalia.
Thank you, Mr. Rahul.
Thank you.
Okay.
Terima kasih. Bapak Gaspar.
And Mr. Ceci
Welcome.
from Polytechnic Ubaya, Surabaya. Mr. Simon Sirapaji from Flores University. And Mrs. Graziana Sama from Flores University. And also for all participants that very active and enthusiasm for joining this webinar. Hopefully, through this activity, we can gain new insight into cross-cultural understanding. And we hope that this activity not only stops after the photo session is over, but that for good, we can continue to have this wonderful relationship and cooperation. So, and of course, I myself as Master of Ceremony in this event, held by Language and Literature faculty, and also representing the entire committee in charge, would like to say thank you very much for your attention and attending to this wonderful seminar. And also answer apology if any of my speech or actions are unfavorable. Have a nice day, good afternoon, and goodbye.
Terima kasih Bapak Gaspar. Thank you for thank you.
Welcome. You are welcome.
National webinar.
Marianus, I'm a very. It's a pleasure for me to join and also to see more people from ND, right? From ND. I came to ND for the first time in 1974.
74, wow.
Yeah, 74.
We wait for the next.
That was long ago, right? That
Yes.
long ago. I in Flores with a lot of nut trees. Thank you. Okay, keep in touch. Ya. Untuk Ibu Grace,
Thank you Bapak Gaspar.
Grace, Judin,
Judin,
right? Ibu Grace, thank you
Terima kasih.
for our
Thank you,
togetherness.
Bapak Gaspar.
Hopefully, we can meet again, maybe in some other events. Right.
Thank you, Bapak. Mr. Gaspar, thank you.
Okay, for all the participants, the link is lined up in the chat box. Please fill it up. The attendance list.
Di sesi tadi saya suruh dia masuk dulu kami sekarang maunya dia masuk pertanyaan berapa itu yang mau pertanyaan dulu.